Carey Stubblefield, and I'm so glad to be with you today. A topic that I wanted to discuss with you is one that I think a lot of people struggle with. And so I wanted to really highlight what healthy boundaries is, the topic that we're going to talk about today. And healthy boundaries is basically about your self respect. And it's a skill that you get to know, and you need to understand where your limits are with the boundaries. And it's a skill that you build upon, and you'll get better at it as you go. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is knowing your limits. Be clear on where you stand with things, because if you're clear on where you stand, then other people will recognize that and understand that as well. And the other thing with that is know what you're going to tolerate and what you're going to accept and not accept. The second thing I wanted to talk about is tuning into your feelings. That's really important. And there's two things that go along with that, and it's basically discomfort, and the second one is resentment. And if you find that you're resenting what's happening in your relationship or the person that you're talking with, then you need to trust your gut on that, and you need to set a boundary. Also, the other thing that goes along with the resentment is most people don't feel that maybe they're being appreciated. They may feel that they're being taken advantage of, and that's where the resentment builds. So that's important to be aware of that too. The second thing would be, or the third thing would be direct when you're setting your boundaries, because if you're kind of wishy-washy about it and you're not clear, then the other people aren't either. So it's important to have clarity with knowing that you need to be direct with others, because some people you just have to be really direct. The next thing is, give yourself permission to do that. Don't let your fear, your guilt, and things like that get in the way. And sometimes there are people out there that will kind of push your guilt button a little bit. So it's good to be aware of that. So the other thing is, along with that, is practicing self-awareness. It's really important to tune into your body and know, and your mind, knowing what you're feeling right now. If something's feeling really uncomfortable to you, then trust your gut, and then you need to be direct. You need to stand up and know what you're going to tolerate, not tolerate, and have clarity with that. The next thing I wanted to talk about is, I think we're on number 6 here. Yes. Consider your past and your present with all of this, because how you grew up, maybe you grew up in a home where you were the caretaker of a sick mother or someone, or maybe you were focused on other people more than yourself, and you ignored what was going on within you. So that also comes into play with the present time. So being aware of where you came from in your past can help with changing what you're doing today, because maybe you weren't taught healthy boundaries in your past and understood where the healthy boundaries laid. Whereas now you have that power, you have that control to do that. You have the power and control at any moment in your life that you can change your boundaries and where you want to set them, how far, because people will push your buttons as long and far out as you let them. So it's important to be aware of where you want to bring those boundaries in at. The next thing is make yourself a priority, because the more you respect yourself and make yourself a priority, other people will too. And seeking support is good. Talk with your family, talk with your friends, get their input on it, because that's going to help you. And just to talk it out sometimes, the answer will come. You're going to build more self-confidence with that. So be sure and remember to seek support. Another thing is to be assertive. Make sure you're being assertive with your boundaries and clear. The next thing would be, the final thing would be, is just start small. Start with a small boundary. Maybe it's your daughter or your husband leaves crumbs all over the counter in the kitchen, and that really makes you uncomfortable. So set some boundaries with that. Or maybe it's housekeeping. Do something small, and then you can grow bigger after that. So thank you for joining me today, and we'll talk more about boundaries next time. Thank you.